with us, and President Dallin presides with us over this meeting. Today, our meeting schedule is as follows. All youth will meet in the Cultural Hall. And just a note that the door over by the kitchen is under construction, so we'll use one of the room. The Elders Quorum will be on the stage, and any of the youth leaders we invite to either in the relief side or the Elders Quorum. The primary will meet as normal, primary room. I'd also like to announce this next Saturday at 4:30 there's a stake general priesthood meeting. Sunday. This next Sunday, 4:30 there's stake general priesthood. thank the young men for their administration of the sacrament. Excited for our meeting today. The rest of our meeting will go as follows. We'll get to hear pleasure from hearing from Bishop Miller, after which President Dowling will be our concluding speaker, and we will finish the meeting by singing My Redeemer Lives on page 135, after which Spencer will give us our closing prayer. Thank you.
It's good to be here this morning, brothers and sisters. It's always humbling to me to be able to look out and see us here together at church, and to see all that I know is going on in the ward, and all those that are helping, and all those that are ministering, and all the things that you guys do so well. I'm just always humbled at the work that you do. Thank you so much. I truly, it's a testimony builder to me, so thank you. I want to speak today sorry, take it back a minute. As early as I can remember growing up, I spent countless hours watching my father tie flies for both fly fishing and steelhead fishing. He was and continues to be an avid fly fisherman in the true purist fashion. He and my mother both tied flies in their early years of marriage for both personal use and income. I don't recall ever seeing my father actually purchase a store-bought fly. He only purchased material to make his own flies. He certainly has his favorite patterns, but he's always open to new patterns that will guarantee him success on the river. At the age of 84, he continues to tie his own flies, and thankfully provides us, myself and some of my siblings, flies. We're always eager and grateful recipients. For me, it was always easy to spot a fly tied by my father and one compared to one you would buy in the store. There was a good comparison, and that comparison was from someone over years and years of experience, and someone with less experience like myself. My flies were easy to tell different from my father's tied flies. And my father always taught, he said, with fishing, he says, one of the keys is to following a pattern, to having that perfect fly, and lots of practice. I witnessed that through many times in my life, watching and being able to spend time with my father on the river and seeing the success that he had and years of experience and practice, but also the pattern that he followed. And there was always something said about holding your mouth right too, and I'm true for that about fishing. So, my wife makes beautiful quilts. She's very creative, and on her own she's made some beautiful, beautiful quilts. But I've noticed for the more complicated quilts, she's always said a pattern is a necessity. When I built our last home, I built a large bench, window bench seat that had some very large compartments for storage. And I wondered, what would we ever put in those storage bins? They're clear full of quilts, all of them. So, and I think she believes that's a great preparation. If we ever get cold, we're gonna have lots of quilts to be able to keep us warm. But one thing that she's mentioned also, the pattern is so important. To be able to create that perfect quilt. Elder Holland shares a story about this, or a parable, as he calls it, about patterns. He says, let me use the parable that I hope can make this point. Whatever your marital or family circumstances, for lack of a better title, I call it the parable of a homemade shirt. My mother, bless her, was a marvelous seamstress. In my childhood years, when money was short and new clothing was hard to come by, she would sometimes make clothing for us to wear to school. I would see a shirt in a store window or in a mail order catalog, and my mother would say, I think I can make that. By looking at the shirt as closely as she could, she would then cut a cloth and put some seams to a degree as close as she could to the expensive original. I paid her the tribute of both being willing and able to do that, but she didn't like to do it that way. While she could study the commercial product and come close, what she really wanted was a pattern. A pattern helped her anticipate angles and corners and seams and stitches that were otherwise hard to recognize. Furthermore, if she went back for a second or third shirt, she always is working from the perfect original pattern, not repeating or multiplying the imperfections of the replica. I think you can see my point and hers. We are bound to be in trouble if the shirt that we made from a shirt, if the shirt we made is from a shirt that was made from a shirt. A mistake or two in the first product, inevitable without a pattern, gets repeated and exaggerated and intensified. More awkward and more repetitions we make until finally this thing that I wear to school just doesn't fit. One sleeve is too long, the other's too short. One shoulder seems to run down my chest, the other runs down my back, and the front collar buttons fastens behind my neck. So as I can tell you right now, that would not go over well in the 7th grade. I love this story, the example that he shared of the need to have a pattern and sticking to that pattern. And we can see that in life society. Sometimes we want to get off and start our own pattern, where you'll see maybe those that feel like they have a new pattern or a better pattern. A pattern may be off of something that was original, but a few little changes, and all of a sudden, what they started with is totally different or what they ended with is totally different from what they started with. The Lord has stated in section 52 of the Doctrine and Covenants, "And again I will give unto you a pattern in all things, that ye may not be deceived, for Satan is abroad in the land, and he goeth forth deceiving the nations." Our lives are complicated. Trying to navigate without a pattern can result in devastating results, whereas following a pattern can bring desired success. No doubt we will all struggle with adversity, trials, doubt, emotional, spiritual challenges, sin and guilt, physical and financial, trust and love, belonging and acceptance. Whatever the challenge, it will lead to something